into before we leave here, we got to get into the big news that was announced before Monday Night Raw, but then was also doubled down on Monday Night Raw. But a well-deserved finally getting into the WWE Hall of Fame is the wise man Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman is the first announced inductee to the WWE class Hall of Fame class of 2024. It feels like it's been a long time coming. It feels like he should have been in years ago, but according to people that were close to Paul, he didn't want to go in until he was done with wrestling. But this makes too much sense because it's Triple H's first Hall of Fame class as having full control of creative, and it just happens to be in Philadelphia, where Paul Heyman made probably his the biggest name for himself as the creator of ECW, and which was featured primarily in Philadelphia, and so having him be an inductee in Philadelphia is just fucking huge, and rightfully deserved. And congratulations go out to Paul Heyman. And just looking at a body of this guy's career, I'd argue, this is just me, but I'd argue he's probably the best. I wouldn't even say I'd say he's the best manager in WWE history. I know there's been a lot of good ones out there in the past. You can talk about like guys like Bobby Heenan and guys on that kind of echelon of things, but I can't think of. I mean, I wasn't like paying attention during those times, so you other people would have to come at me and say, "Well, Bobby Heenan did this, and Paul Bearer was this and this and that and all that," and that's fine. You can argue with me, and I can tell you probably have a good argument. But the body of work that Paul Heyman has done as a manager, as a producer, as everything, and what he's been able to put into all of these characters that he's worked with has been insane. This guy's worked with just about. Think about some of the big guys in the past. Before he was even Paul Heyman in WWE, he was working with The Undertaker before he was The Undertaker in WCW. He was working with Stone Cold Steve Austin. We may not even have Stone Cold Steve Austin without Paul Heyman. And then, of course, his building of ECW and what that brought to how that changed the game, how that made WWE change who they were in the 90s because of ECW is because of Paul Heyman. The work that Paul Heyman, whether or not it's okay to talk about him anymore, and I don't know, whatever. But the work that Paul Heyman did when Brock Lesnar debuted, I don't know if Brock Lesnar is the same superstar that he ended up becoming without Paul Heyman, right? I mean, if anything, I would argue that Brock Lesnar is probably another Matt Morgan or another big jack guy that just came on but had nothing going on for him other than just being big and jacked. But Paul Heyman helped those guys get through. I'm not even sure.
Paul Heyman jacked him off. Yeah, I got it.
Oh, Jesus Christ! But I mean, I don't know. But based on the things we've been hearing about Brock Lesnar, I don't know if that's out of the realm of possibility. I'm not gonna shit on Paul Heyman like that, though, man. But anything that Paul Heyman has touched, usually has turned to gold, or at least has almost gotten there. There's been a couple of duds, but for the most part, everything the guy touches turns to gold. Once he was added, I mean, I'd argue the bloodline is not as good as it is right now without Paul Heyman in it and having the influence that Paul Heyman has had. Paul Heyman came out and said that the influence he's had on the bloodline has gone from story, entrance, music, to all the intricacies of it. Obviously, the players involved in it have a big part to do with it, Roman and the other guys and whatnot. But without someone to kind of give you the direction and tell you this is how we should lay it out, this is how it should look, this is how we need to present ourselves to make this work, you can't do it without the wise man. That's why I think Paul Heyman is obviously he deserves the Hall of Fame nod for sure. But I think he is the best manager of all time. feel free to argue with me on that, Tribal Cheese, if you want to.
No arguments here. I think it's pretty
Woo!
obvious. I think it's pretty obvious he is. Even if you discount the stuff that he did with Brock Lesnar, um, obviously it's gonna get discounted. It's not gonna matter. He's still gonna be in the Hall of Fame, right?
Mm-hmm.
But before that, you got CM Punk, right? Then
Yeah.
you got CM Punk into Brock Lesnar, and then into the Bloodline. I mean, home runs. He only hits home runs. That's all Paul. And he doesn't do it like just like kind of from the sidelines either. He's like up front and center. It does feel weird without Paul Heyman being there. Like that's how it feels. You never get tired of seeing him, and you notice it when he's not there. I mean, think about that too. How many segments he's been backstage,
Yeah, he's
building up and promoting matches.
yeah.
If you're a manager, that's what you're supposed to do is manage, right? And promote matches and be a mouthpiece and be an advocate. And I mean, some of the best moments we've had is with Paul Heyman, some of the best entrances, right? Or the best ring
Mm-hmm.
announcements or however he wants to do it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we can't even discount, like you said, you can't discount his impact on the wrestlers and the way they see the
Oh
business, their
yeah.
professionalism, the way they grow. I mean, shit, I don't even think you get face Brock Lesnar without these last couple of years before all this shit happened. I don't think you get face Brock Lesnar ever going out on his own uh, if he
Mm-hmm.
didn't have all that experience with Paul Heyman before him. So I mean, Brock didn't change shit. He just kept it going. He
Mm-hmm.
tried to do what Paul Heyman did, and his voice cracked. So it's just he's got a wonderful impact on this business.
For real.
Um, he's given us so many moments with the Bloodline, with CM Punk, and
Nate
it's always
the
continuity. It's always
yeah.
continuity, right? Because he sits there and there's always some kind of connection where people talk to
Yeah.
him, and in the biggest wrestlers that are still relevant
Mm-hmm.
today are still involved with Paul Heyman. So much deserved. I don't think that Paul Bear, unfortunately, is in the same level. Yes, but you never had to cut promos like
Yeah.
consistently and as often, and
Yeah.
with Undertaker, Kane, none of them, right?
For real.
You could argue like Ted DiBiase or something like that, but you
Yeah.
know uh no, nobody even comes close to
Yeah.
mine. There's been a lot of managers, but nobody comes close to mine to what Paul Heyman has done.
Yeah, yeah, for real. The only one, like I said, that you might be able to make an argument for, and I would say that's fine. I can stand back on that one is Bobby the Brain Heenan. Other than him, I'd say no. There's nobody that's done what Paul Heyman has done over the course of the last 30, 40 some odd years that
What you mean, player?
he's been in the business. Oh my god, that guy was a manager for like a fucking minute. Hold on a minute, player.
Hold
Make it go
on.
one on
He
one.
just he just gonna come in
He's
to the
gonna make
Zoom
it.
room.
He's just gonna make you go one on one with the Undertaker. One on one with the Undertaker. But no, but I'm a Paul Heyman guy thing. That's not a gimmick. That's a lifestyle. Those. Anything that Paul Heyman gets his hands on usually turns to gold. And without him, I think things would be a lot different in this business, and I think they'd be a lot different in WWE right now as it stands. I'm not sure the bloodline would be what it is without the magic that Paul Heyman brings to it. Whether you think he's an annoying character or not, that's the whole point of Paul Heyman. That's the whole point of, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman, and I am the advocate and the wise man for the
A wise
WWE
man
Undisputed Champion, Roman Reigns.
like that.
Just great guy.
Guy,
Great
give me the
guy.
mic.
Well deserved Hall of Fame induction coming up for Paul Heyman. It's a little bit of a shame once again with the Brock Lesnar stuff, because that's probably the guy that I would have said would probably been like earmarked to induct him into the Hall of Fame. But obviously Brock Lesnar's been erased from the company, so we won't be seeing any of him anytime soon.
Permanently.
So it'll be interesting to see who inducts Paul Heyman into the Hall of Fame. But rightfully deserved, and I hope that Philadelphia crowd gives him the biggest, the biggest pop and everything when he comes out there for his speech. And I'll be looking forward to hear his speech, because that guy has. If you ever gone on the rabbit hole of YouTube and interviews with Paul Heyman and one-on-ones with him, the guy is just a brilliant mind. So, anyways, well deserved a Hall of Fame nod for Paul Heyman. Congratulations from us over here at the Springboard Plancha Podcast to the wise man, Paul Heyman. Well deserved. And we'll look forward to see what the other inductees of the Hall of Fame are going to be for this season. This year. If there's any that are of big note, not to say that not everyone in the Hall that gets inducted is a big note, but I unfortunately my history goes back only to about maybe like 90. So anything before that, I may not be able to talk about very very fluently here on the podcast. So I don't want to make myself look stupid. So as long as it's somebody getting inducted that we can at least talk about here, we'll let you know. Otherwise, just follow WWE social media accounts to find out who else is going to be a part of the Hall of Fame class. But I thought giving Paul Heyman his flowers on this show was essential, so I wanted to get it in there. So that's what we did here.